And now, our feature presentation.
You are watching a master at work.
Hello again. Rafael Yacines no es el Capitán Rafucho, and welcome to another episode of Silver and Black Experience. I mean, this whole Friday became between two special episodes, and then we just got enough of this. But I think that was like a great idea to make like two special episodes on Friday, which is terrific. So first, we just got Kenny King Jr. talking about for the Raiders. Right now, we just had another special guest coming right here. I know they call me crazy, but this is going to be like surprisingly epic and very explosive. So, ladies and gentlemen, I got to introduce to you a man has no fear at all. We can talk about for the Raiders, confident, and of course, unfiltered, uncensored. You might know because his YouTube channel is growing up with their takes and everything. I mean, that man is one of my greatest brothers, a great content creator, and of course, he has no fear at all. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will present to you another man of the hour, the myth, the legend. Also, you already know for this. His name is Hardcore Raider. How's it going? Welcome to the Silver and Black Experience, and welcome. This is like the first time being here on my podcast, Silver and Black Experience, because we had like an opportunity to hang out with each other, some live streams talking about for the Raiders. So, how's it going, Hardcore Raider?
Good, man. I know you've been wanting to get me on for a minute, so I appreciate you being patient with me. Been pretty busy, but cheers, man. Ready to chop it up, talk some Raiders. Much love, dude. Thanks for
there you go.
And how's your Friday going, bro?
Yeah, I'm definitely good right here. So right now I'm getting prepared for the weekend because right now it's getting like a really explosive for me because I'm getting ready for those weekend vibes. I know they have the Royal Rumble coming up next. And man, I'm really excited about it. So right now, let's get it to the first topic. So right now, it is the time for the first topic. So after the 2023-24 season of the Raiders, right now, we just got our brand new coach, as known as Antonio Pierce. Now, for many years ago, we just see like the owner, Mark Davis, doing like some smart ideas, and some of them didn't happen. Because remember in 2022, they just got one thing right about Devontae Adams trade. And then it just got a little bit worse, a little bit weird, because they just brought Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler going after the Nets head coach and general manager. But I got to tell you for this something. The experiment is fucking done. It's over because it's already dead, because we're not going to adopt it the Patriot way, because it's not going to happen. So we're not like a Bill Belichick disciples. And then Mark Davis got the smart idea to dump Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler and get into involved with the interim head coach, which is Antonio Pierce and Champ Kelly as the interim general manager. But right now, things are getting started right now because right now we just brought back our culture, our motherfucking culture for the Raider Nation because it's not about the Patriot way. It's not about Bill Belichick's way. It's about the Raiders way. So how do they feel about the importance of Antonio Pierce as being the new head coach? And I know that some fans that just want Jim Harbaugh or other head coach, but for me right now, Antonio Pierce just brought what are those things that some of those coaches didn't have it: leadership, discipline, and of course, great mentality. So how do you feel about it?
Yeah, man. Sorry, I'm just reposting this to my Twitter, so hopefully get some people in here to check us out.
Yep.
I don't know if you usually post to Twitter, but yeah, man, I was pretty pumped when we hired him. I didn't want Harbaugh mainly because, kind of like I said on my channel, but I'll just kind of repeat some of the same stuff. Just that I felt like the last go around, the Raiders needed a coach. A couple of years ago when we got McDaniels, I just felt like Harbaugh kind of played the Raiders and gave us the runaround. And I really don't want a coach that just wants to go to the highest bidder, meaning who's going to pay him the most, and played the Raiders like a fiddle. Like I want a coach that wants to be a Raider. And so this go around, I wasn't really in tune at all for the Harbaugh, kind of speculation. I'm sure he's going to be a good coach. I just, he was only with Raiders for 1 year, and I get it. Once a Raider, always a Raider. But between that and then us having to go through an entire rebuild, because let's face it, you bring on a new coach, they're going to tear it down, get rid of some guys, bring in their own guys. So imagine a coach coming in, maybe getting rid of, Max Crosby or Devontae Adams. That'd be devastating. All these coaches, will come in, they'll say, we're going to try to win now. And next thing you know, they're trading and dumping players. It happens every time. So I didn't want to be part of that. So, I wanted to keep what we had in place. And shout out to the chat. Saw some people in there. So just want to say what up. Hope you guys are doing good. And cheers.
Yep.
Let's go Raiders, man.
Yeah, that's the fucking Raiders. And right now, let's see for the shout out to the chat right here. So we got Robert Pena, Tony Sheffer, Freddie Chavez, Nuba Hernandez. Also, we got, well, there's a lot of love in the chat right here. I mean, I'm really excited because right now, I just feel like the importance of Antonio Pierce as a new head coach. I mean, it brought me some great stuff because remember, we just beat Los Angeles Chargers in historical triumph. And then we just beat against Chiefs on a Christmas Day. And after we just beat between Denver Broncos, New York Giants, which is a former team, and of course, New York Jets, that was just like a big statement. But right now, we just see like we're hungry for more because this is like a great formula for success. I mean, think about it. Between Antonio Pierce and, of course, the love of the locker room for those players like Robert Spillane, Max Crosby, also the whole defense and the offensive special teams, they brought a lot of great support for Antonio Pierce. And people at the LHM Stadium, they heard their voice because every time we see like hearing the boys hire AP, I mean, they just got it once. And I think this is one of the first times that Mark Davis didn't screw it up because the voice of the people never, never, never disappoint. I mean, they just got the right thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, let's face it, man. Mark Davis has made some bad decisions. I was a huge John Gruden guy. I have a lot of, I don't know, the Gruden experiment, I'm probably a little different than a lot of guys just because I know it didn't go the way we wanted, but, we also have to consider, the move from Oakland to Vegas with Gruden, the COVID stuff, all that crap. So I probably have a little more forgiveness about the Gruden thing not working out and reasons why, not excuses, but actual reasons why. But other than Gruden, yeah, I mean, it's been tough, man. It really has. And, I've always felt like for a coach, any coach that's going to coach the Raiders, like they have to understand what it means to be a Raider. And this is going even before we hired John Gruden the second time, right? And so when Antonio Pierce came online, I'll be honest, I didn't know much about him. Yeah, I love the fire, the hype, yelling Raiders, but to me, it's like it's more than that. I want a coach that I'm tired of these teams that are good teams, like the Chiefs and the Chargers and stuff. But I'm tired of coaches like almost bending a knee to our enemies. I want a coach that's like, we don't care about what they do. We're worried about what we're going to do, right? We don't want to be liked. We want to be respected, right? and that me against the world mentality. And Antonio Pierce absolutely embodies it. And I know a lot of people are throwing some shots at Max Crosby, but it takes a lot of balls. It takes real leadership to almost sacrifice yourself for the betterment of the team. I've always felt that way, going back to my days in the Army and stuff, man. But the best leaders in this world are the ones that are willing to sacrifice their credibility for what's best for the team, no matter what team environment you're in. And most leaders won't do that. Most leaders are yes men. They just want to delegate. You know what I mean? But when you have a guy like Max Crosby that's willing to put, his love for the Raiders, his leadership for the Raiders on the line for a coach, I don't see that as a knock against Max Crosby. I see that as a huge plus, and that's a guy that you want to lead your organization. So I give Max Crosby a lot of respect because that took a lot of gumption. He didn't go into that situation saying, possibly, trade or explore all options. You don't go into that without knowing what kind of, heat you're going to bring on yourself. But he stuck his neck out on the line, and I'm glad he did. I'm glad Mark Davis made the right decision. And you know what? Moving forward, when we're going to play one of these top elite teams, I'm glad that we're going to have the confidence, even if maybe we know, like, hey, we're not as good as that team. I'm just happy that we're going to have guys on the field that, like, the belief is that we can win this game. Not that guys necessarily go in thinking they're going to lose, but there's times where I think players have doubts, right? The media is going to hype up certain teams like the Chiefs and Mahomes and all this stuff. And I believe the first part of being a winner in life is the belief. And that starts with the will to win and what Antonio Pierce is bringing to the table for this Raiders team.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And speaking about for Max Crosby, I mean, he could be like he's really sneaky fast, a real gym rat. He's kind of
1
like
second.
a very important. Yeah. But I think he's the most important glue to every reason what it just had like the whole defense. I mean, speaking about it, I mean, Max Crosby, he became like one of those glue for the defense. And right now, getting the combination between Devontae Adams, also for the running back, Josh Jacobs, Robert Spillane, Mick Robertson. I mean, those guys, they're important thing that just happened. I mean, remember the last season, which is 2022, 2023, it really sucks. But right now, the 2023, 2024 season, it kind of like improved at all. I mean, of course, we just dumped Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler because their experiment was really, really done because there's no longer about it. And we just bench Jimmy Garoppolo. But the most important thing, how improved about for the defense. Have you ever saw like the miracle interception on Mick Robertson? And then we just got like the perfect point to have like a great defense and defense. I mean, especially for the special teams. I mean, they're going to happen a lot of this time. But for the first time, we just had a great defense since 20 years, since they lost against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, it could have happened since the 90s, since the 2000. I mean, to understand about that, being like everything has a coach, AP being the coach, that the players know that has the backs and understands why they're on the field because he did it himself. Of course, that body of work as a coach is very small, but beating up against the Chargers and the Chiefs, cutting the dumbass penalties, constantly playing the team or two gold feathers in the cap. And I mean, that was like really important. I mean, if they can sustain over for the next couple of years, it that will be. But here's like another thing that was something that I was getting involved for this. We are the team with less penalties, which is it really shocked to me. It really shocked to me that we are like less penalties. We just got it improving. I mean, it's finally allowing that player, which is Max Crosby, is living out for the full potential. I mean, sacks, of course, has been interrupted the force anytime with 10 yards of the battle. He just find a way to make a play. I mean, I'm very impressed that the whole team was so incredible, but the defense line was like another level. But imagine this, because before that, we just dragged down by my clown. But after that, under Pierce, I mean, he's lifting us to the culture, lifting us to the let's love it. And he took the headset. I will figure it out for the next season. It could be a lot of bigger than that.
Yeah, no, I mean, this defense, you're right. I mean, we were the least penalized team in the NFL. If you had told me any time in my lifetime, honestly, dude, that the Raiders at some point in the future would be the least penalized team, I would have told you you're nuts. We're almost always the most penalized team. So for Antonio Pierce and these coaches to and the players to come out of the season least penalized, like that's insane. Like that never happens being a Raiders fan. We're always, if not the most penalized team, right up there. And a lot of that, I don't think is self-induced. A lot of that I think is bad refs. Pulling some shenanigans. I'll be honest. Going into the season, I said if we were top 15 defense, if our defense elevated to top 15, I know we finished I think 6 or something, but if we finished top 15, I thought we would have a good chance to make the playoffs. Obviously, I was wrong, but I also didn't foresee our offense taking this big of a step back. But yeah, you gotta tip your hat to this defense, man. And we're gonna have some hard decisions, in the future with contracts coming up, like Trayvon Morig, not Nate Hobbs. We'll pretty much have them for another year, and we're gonna have to figure out if we're gonna sign these guys or what we're gonna do. So. I love the fact that the Raiders defense is doing good, but we're also going to have some tough decisions on who we're going to keep and how we're going to float that kind of money and stuff like that. So it may not be a bridge we got to cross yet, but it's coming up. So we're going to have to figure out what we want to do. So, but yeah, we got to tip your hat. A lot of respect to those guys, especially once, the dude came over, got the interception, the hand behind the back.
Yeah.
So shout out to freaking drawing a blank here. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank, but shout out to him. I thought, some of these, defensive backs getting some of the interceptions all throughout the year did a great job.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Jack Jones. Jack Jones,
the pick six. I was like really excited about for the pick six of Jack Jones. I mean, it was just like he just made a one-hit pick six where he was miking up. I mean, with that interception for the pick six, I was like, man. And during that Christmas game, I mean, he would just like it would become like the Grinch. I mean, that was like the Christmas day, but he's gonna be like the successful. I mean, you get like a picture about that. I mean, it doesn't seem like as far as gone, but it seems like Jack Jones, he became like one of those beast modes in kind of the back to back. I mean, it's gonna be like a good cornerback. But it's only had a matter of time, but it was carrying off for anything. But I mean, that's one of the exactly reasons that he got so many chances right there. I mean, that player is immensely talented. I mean, one of those issues of problems is because he had an attitude that he's making a amount of decisions right there. But I mean, he was continually having to go for it. I mean, he's impressively talented. I mean, you can never forget about it. All the moment they had to go for it, that was just like a steel pig. I mean, he has a lot of potential to do. Anything could happen. And let's check it out for the comments right here to say what they got. Snooper not to say any Raider fans heading on the counter need to find another team to cheer because this is motherfucking Raider Nation. That's right. Also, Tony Shepard to say find the right guy for offensive coordinator, have a great draft and free agency, and keep the momentum going. All right, so let's talk about for the next topic, and I just wanted to hear about it because right now I'm gonna share the screen right here because this is like a really important. All right, so after we just the live like the news between Tom Telesco as the new general manager of the Raiders because he has 11 years experience with the Los Angeles Chargers. I mean, there's a lot of rumors between a possible comeback of Khalil Mack and everything. I mean, that was just like, I'm very impressive that you kind of go for it. But right now, let's share for the screen right here. Let's see what the guys right here. I mean, they kind of at a possible return for Khalil Mack, which is an edge rusher, because he was traded out for Chicago Bears, and then he was just traded out for Los Angeles Chargers. But right now, let's check them off for the page right here. All right. Oh, let's see what they got over here. Oh, yeah, that's just like this one. All right. So let's just see what happens right here. All right. Let's just see. All right. So let's just see what happened with Khalil Mack, which is very important. All right.
If you don't mind, go to teams if you don't mind, and then go to Chargers. Click on teams and then Chargers.
Right, so I'm gonna go for the team.
And then
all right.
And then,
so let's go for the team Chargers. All right.
So we
there
see,
it goes. All right. So there it goes.
Hold on. Scroll up. All right. So the Chargers are 45. It's like 45 million over the cap. So they got to figure out. So the point is, the Chargers got to figure out something. And they're probably gonna have to get rid of Khalil Mack because they're gonna have to cut a lot of money. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, but also just get like a great idea. But also we just got like a salary cap charge, which is $16 million, and the contract value is more than 141,000 million dollars. I mean, they just kind of like up because right now it seems that they have so much important thing that goes for the contract. I mean, there's gonna be expected to get anything to be released right here, but he has to live it up for this point right here because after they just trade off for Chicago Bears and then right now for Las Vegas for Los Angeles Chargers. So right now everything had to go for the trade, but he has to need the trade. It needs to go to evaluate it right here. I mean, doesn't matter because the only way I had to go for the consider who's gonna take it, but at that time that word at the package and he was like a definitely like at the vacuum. It's just like an elite grain record. So he has to consider like the performance, and when the Raiders picked, that was very important. That was very huge. But I kind of was bigger than the hand side, but just because they had so bad picks for another teams, but the package is easily worth it. I mean, look at it for the contract here. I mean, it's gonna be like at a 2024. This base salary is more than $60 million, and then for the debt money at cap savings, they out the cap for the 50.4%, and it goes for like $50 million. So it's playing how to go to the possible comeback of Khalil Mack, and what had to go for the contract is going to expire. It's going to be like a traded up. So any thoughts about for possible return for Khalil Mack and about the contract value? Also, where the guy is going to be traded, is it going to be the cut up before the pre-June 1st?
Say again. Sorry.
I was thinking about for the possible comeback of Khalil Mack and, of course, the contract that they're putting out for Los Angeles Chargers.
All right. So, yeah, no, I appreciate you bringing this up, the Khalil Mack thing as well as his contract. So I'm going to have an unpopular opinion, it's not that I don't like Khalil Mack and I don't think he's a great, player and whatnot, but you look at how the Chargers did the contract for Khalil Mack. This is what happens to a lot of players is they'll like restructure a contract and they'll backload it. So if you want Khalil Mack, essentially you're going to have to take on that contract and you might be eating that $38 million, So not only do you have to like trade because he's not a free agent this year, you'd have to trade something for Khalil Mack, but you have to be willing to take on $38 million. Now, here's what I'll say. Like, if you are at a point on your team where you feel like you're one Khalil Mack away from winning a championship, then and you can maybe you restructure the contract or something and you backload it again, then sure, maybe you take on a Khalil Mack. Maybe you give him a big bonus so the cash payout doesn't like hit the cap as much. But like if the Raiders had to take on that full amount, then I don't think I'd want to explore it. Now, sure, if it's 15, 16 million kind of deal, then I might want to consider, hey, we could, bring on Khalil Mack for this amount of draft capital or whatever. I doubt the Chargers would trade with us, but at the same time, they're 45 million over the cap. So the Chargers are in a very, big predicament here where they got to get under the cap. So Khalil Mack is probably going to be gone after this last year. I still think he has enough in the tank. He's only 32. Probably another, I don't know, I'd say 2 to 3 really good years potentially. Yeah. After that, it's going to be questionable. Defensive ends that shit takes a beating on their body. So, I would consider it if the price is right, draft capital wise, and if the price is right for contract. If we got to take on the full 38 million, I don't want it. He's not worth that kind of money. That's more than Derek Carr is making over at the Saints. And the Saints, believe it or not, are $85 million over the cap. The Saints that, a lot of Derek Carr fans and stuff, the Saints are $85 million over the cap. That's insane. That's what happens when you have bad leadership. Sean Payton used to be a Saint, not to bring up the Saints, but I know there's people out there that root for Derek Carr. I wish him the best, but that's what happened when you have a like Sean Payton, and all they did is kept backloading these contracts. Now they all catch up to you, and you're in a very bad situation. Luckily, the Raiders aren't in that situation, but this is what happens when you pay quarterbacks top-tier money if they're not worth that kind of money, or other players and their contract, hits. And the Raiders, I'll be honest, we're going to have a similar situation with Davante Adams starting in 2025. You can pull it up on Over the Cap. His contract jumps up to $44 million for Davante Adams. And I love Davante Adams. but we got to figure something out, because that amount of money we're going to have to pay Devontae Adams, that $44 million, that's going to be a problem starting in 2025. Not saying he won't restructure that contract and we can backload it, like, but it can hurt us down the road as well. So we kind of got our own thing we're going to have to figure out down the road. But Khalil Mack, if the price is right, yeah, but don't go selling the farm for it, because I like him, but I don't think he's worth that kind of money. But that's just me.
Yeah, exactly. And I agree about that, because right now they had to figure it out about to go to restructure. I mean, the trade that only happens when it comes to the football business. I mean, they just happen like they had to go for the structuring of the contract right here, but it doesn't seem like they had to go to see, because right now it seems that they wanted to keep a player healthy, because Khalil Mack was getting like a getting jury report since back when he was on the Chargers, but then we just figured it out how to go to, because it's football business. It's football business, right?
Well,
here.
and I don't think the Raiders are one Khalil Mack away from winning a championship. I wish we were. Shit, I really wish we were.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I don't think we're one missing piece, one Khalil Mack away from winning a championship. I think we need offensive linemen.
Mhm.
If I look at 38 million, or even it was 16 million, I look at offensive linemen, the quarterback situation. So I just think there's a lot of the things on this team that we need to figure out before we go spinning the boat, and it's going to hurt your long-term success as well. And risk versus reward, I just think it's too much. I'd love to have him back, but not at that price range, but that's just where I'm at.
Yeah, exactly. Also, I just got for a comment right here. Like I say, Jaw Raider also saw a report NFL we had to plan to suspend Jim Harbaugh for the cheating scandal. And let's see for another comment. Wow, Harbaugh wasn't even called a play, and they're already getting suspended. All right, so talking about for this topic, we got to Nets right here. I mean, the whole conference is gonna be like really stacked for the next season, because first the Raiders, they just got Antonio Pierce. Then the Chargers is gonna be with Jim Harbaugh. Nets, we got the Chiefs. Also knows the quiz, they had Andy Reid. And then for the Denver Broncos, it's the Donkeys, they had Sean Payton. I mean, the Nets full season is gonna be like a fully stack with those guys right here. I mean, thinking about it, because right now Antonio Pierce had a lot of work to do, because of his mentality, the leadership, and the discipline that can shock the entire world. But they had to be careful about the competition, because right now the Kansas City Chiefs, they're so overrated, because right now they had Andy Reid. Denver Broncos never won against Las Vegas Raiders since for many years. Also, we had to take care about Los Angeles Chargers, because first and foremost, the first round of Las Vegas Raiders versus Los Angeles Chargers was a completely disappointment. But the next round, it was like a historical moment. But I think the next season is going to be like a fully stacked with those teams with new coaches. I mean, several phases going to happen, like, because right now they just had like Jim Harbaugh for the Chargers. And I know that some fans, they just want so bad Jim Harbaugh for the Raiders, because they had a lot of payments, because they just won a national championship of college football with Michigan Wolverines. But I think they just got the right choice with Antonio Pierce. But the point is, the whole conference of these teams between Raiders, Chargers, Denver Broncos, and Chiefs, they're gonna be like a fully stacked. Not only because for the coaches, but also the talent. The talent, not only about for the quarterback, also the cornerback, the special teams, the defense, the offense, wide receivers, running back. Anything could happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of like my point I was saying before about Antonio Pierce. Like, yeah, we could look at it like, oh, those are great coaches, we should fear them. But like, I think it's like, come on, let's go. You know what I mean? Like, as long as you get the offensive coordinator right, and you get the quarterback situation and offensive line like figured out, if we get that figured out, we shouldn't fear any of these guys. I don't care if it's Patrick Mahomes. You can't go into a game. I'm not saying you, but I'm just saying, like, as an athlete, as like a winner, as a team player, like, you can't go into a game being like, oh, I'm going to fear that guy and that team, and they got all this. We got to worry about ourselves and what we got. If you do that and you're more worried about what you're doing than what somebody else has and what you don't have, then, like, I guarantee you, if you're more worried about them than yourselves, you will fail. I guarantee you will fail. But if you're more worried about yourself and what you're going to do to go above and beyond to achieve, you can beat those guys, even if they're at the top of their game. So, like, for me, like, I don't know if we're going to get in the offensive coordinator talk and stuff like that, but, there's talk about Cliff Kingsbury. I don't hate that, But the one guy that like I want a veteran, maybe not to be like the offensive coordinator, but a guy that can help whoever our offensive coordinator is. And I think the best fit is Hugh Jackson. I'm probably sure like 98% of Raider fans won't agree with me on that. My homie Protect the Shield just interviewed Hugh Jackson. So if you guys haven't checked out that interview, it was a great interview. Hugh Jackson straight up said, dude, he's excited for Antonio Pierce. He's like, I don't want to be the guy, but I would love to essentially, like, there's no other NFL team I'd coach for. I don't need to be the guy. Like, I would help. Like, he literally said he would push a broom. Hugh Jackson said, I would push a broom to help the Raiders win a championship. He said he has a lot of football knowledge, a lot of offensive knowledge, and he would like to share that with a younger offensive coordinator. So the point is, if Hugh Jackson could come in as like a senior offensive assistant, not saying offensive coordinator, but to assist whatever offensive coordinator we get, then that's going to help us get a lot of victories. Because Hugh Jackson, as much hate and like people don't like him, he's a damn good coach and a great offensive minded coach. People forget, besides his time with the Browns, what he did for the Bengals, man, and he did a lot for that team. He did a lot for the Raiders a short stint here, and he did get a fair shake with us. So, he doesn't have a job right now. He used to be with Grambling State, but he's not doing that. I would personally love for the Raiders to find a role for Hugh Jackson. I think he can help make our Raiders offense, no matter what quarterback we get or whatever, situation we're in, Hugh Jackson can help us win a championship. And he straight up said that. I want to help the Raiders win a championship. So I'm all for it, dude. I hope they do the right thing and bring him back because I think he can help us.
Yeah, that's exactly. And of course, we just see for a lot of comments right here. Y'all ready to say the Jokers are screwed. Tony Shepard to say FLA, FLA. Also, y'all ready to say Chargers fans, but they didn't harbor for those games. Also, Snoop Dante to say fear no man but God and the Raiders. Also, Tony Shepard to say Raiders win the West in 2024. That's a fact. So, speaking about for the quarterback, we just talk about for the next topic. I mean, I just wanted to share the screen right here and let you see for the free agents for the quarterback. All right, let's just see for this one. All right, so for the next season, we just have like a to do about for the quarterback because right now we just got Aiden O'Connor, which is a quarterback, but just like a backup quarterback. But look at this for the free agency of the NFL. They just got Kirk Cousins, Ryan Tannehill, Jacoby Brissett, Tyler Taylor, Marcus Mariota, Sam Darnold. Also, Baker Mayfield is right here of the free agency because look at this for these quarterbacks. So they just got a current every year, the guarantees, the snaps, the age, the type. Boyd is going to be like an unlimited free agency about that. But the question is, who's going to be like the next quarterback for the 2024-2025 season for the Raiders? Because look at this are the quarterbacks right here. So they got Winston over here. They got Gardner Minshew, Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, if you guys are to see for Baker Mayfield or Kirk Cousins or Jacoby Brissett as a quarterback for the because right now we just see like it more important to look at the rookie quarterback or a veteran quarterback to fill it out to the position for Aiden O'Connor. Because remember, guys, Aiden O'Connor is a backup quarterback and he hasn't really like a starting quarterback in some games, but we need to have to do something with a starter quarterback, no matter if it's a veteran or a rookie. So can you tell us about who's going to be like do we have to draft a veteran quarterback or a rookie quarterback for the next season?
Well, so I always like to look at like, I don't know, a lot of different things. So like I've been calling this the three-headed monster, which has to do with offensive coordinator, scheme, and your quarterback. Because you can have a great offensive coordinator, and if they scheme to a skill set that isn't your quarterback's skill set, you're not going to be successful. So scheme, offensive coordinator, and quarterback all tie to each other. So like there's different avenues you can go. If you go the Kirk Cousins route, I'm not saying I want this, but if you were to like go that route, first of all, like, then you go through like the money, right? Because you have to consider like what you're going to have to pay these guys. Kirk Cousins making $35 million a year. He's a good quarterback. Is he worth that? I don't know. Probably of all these quarterbacks, he's probably the only one worth the contract that he's probably going to get. Most of Kirk Cousins' career, he has not earned his contract, in my opinion. Last year, he was balling out in a contract year, ironically, and then got hurt. But Kirk Cousins is probably going to want 35, probably 40 mil minimum. That's a lot of money, even if it's a 3-year deal or something like that. So if you're going to go the Kirk Cousins route, I think Kirk Cousins' skill set as far as scheme, Kirk Cousins' skill set is real similar to what we have in Aiden O'Connell. So, like when you're scheming as offensive coordinator, your starter in Kirk Cousins, if that was the avenue we take, is real similar to Aiden O'Connell, our rookie that we just had. Pull that back up. Sorry, I wanted to look at that for another minute.
Okay.
And
Okay,
then
there you
like
go.
other guys like Ryan Tannehill, that's kind of the same thing. I think that all three of those quarterbacks have the same skill set, or two quarterbacks have the same skill set as Aiden O'Connell. But like my question would be, like, this is what I would ask myself: can Kirk Cousins or Ryan Tannehill win you a Super Bowl? I don't know. Maybe Kirk Cousins. I highly doubt Ryan Tannehill. And especially if you're gonna have to pay him a lot of money. But then the other thing to look at all these backups, man. Tyrod Taylor, Marcus Mariota, Sam Darnold, Drew Lock. All the backups are making $4 to $5 million a year as a backup. That's a lot of money for a backup quarterback. Our quarterback right now, Aiden O'Connell, is making less than $1 million per year. We do need a veteran, but I'm just saying, even if you were to start Aiden O'Connell or you draft a rookie, if you're going to bring in a backup quarterback, you're going to pay him probably $4 to $5 million per year, which is a lot, So, we do need a veteran. I don't believe in Jimmy Garoppolo personally. I don't believe in Brian Hoyer as a backup. So, we're going to need a veteran of some sort, even if we draft a guy or whatever. So, I'm not exactly saying I have an answer. I have about 3 to 4 different scenarios I'll probably cover later on my show because I got to kind of break it down, and I'm thinking about it still. But I don't hate the Kirk Cousins thing, only if we feel like this team can make a Super Bowl run, and if we feel like Kirk Cousins is the guy. But we're going to have to restructure some guys' contracts, like a Devontae Adams, Max Crosby, probably to make that contract work. And I'm not saying I love that decision if we were to sign a Kirk Cousins. But if you want to win now, if you want to win a championship in 1 to 3 years, of all the quarterbacks on the board right there, Kirk Cousins is probably the closest thing to a guy that gives you the best chance, in my opinion, at least.
That's a really fact right here. I mean, look at the options that had to go for it. I mean, if they had a mobility, I mean, they had to go for it. I mean, they just wanted to start to look at the talent, the mobility, and everything about for speed, intensity for a quarterback, because this is one of those most important things either to go for the quarterback. Let's check it off of the comments right here. Let's see right here.
You care if I smoke a cigarette on your channel? Do you care if I smoke?
Yeah, it is. All right, so we got Snooper not to say Cousins need to take a discount. Maybe they got it for the discount. There you go, Real Man Raiders. How's it going? Salute, Rafa. Also, Snooper not to say, did you guys talking about Justin Fields? I mean, yeah, probably had to go for Justin Fields. I mean, here's like one of those points about why did it go to bring Justin Fields. I mean, he has a 1,000-yard wide receiver. I mean, they could have launched it or sinking it, but they're just like going to be away from being like the contender. It's not how to go for the case. I mean, that's enough for the 2 years of good to save. I mean, remember when the Coldstream pitcher who has 2 Super Bowl appearances left him, they landed them. Not saying it's going to be like a really luck, but I think it's going to reverse how to go for redefenses for as long as the quarterback to draw back for absolutely no reason. But he actually missed it as a part of the progression because most of the wide receivers are making their breaks, but they're still dropping back for the like of the leisure stroll, and even at the end of the drawback, just kind of they like sit there for a second because they're really throwing the ball. It's really like easily corrected the ball, but as is the type of because he was like a dark horse MVP. He came for the homers, including that. And the second off season, it will be another of those mistakes, but this should be like a very Super Bowl. But I think it's gonna be how to go for the cheaper right now, but theoretically right here because it got a discuss of fear right here because it comes to the just sheer passing in the stats we know because they're just using Derek Carr numbers just because they're the last season quarterback. I mean, they just had the worst passing season of the rookie year. He threw for like more than 3,007 yards. I mean, last year he suffered a pulling groin, chest rib fracture. I mean, separation. And that year he just missed 4 against his leg and stump. I mean, it's just like the Trey Lanes trade. If you traded like the potential not current or a past performance, and it hasn't helped with him too much for the Bears, either to go for the moves. If they gotta use it a third or late, they'll be okay with that. That we okay with that because it's so long that since the Raiders went to look at two legitimate shots at quarterback, people are flooded to making decisions. But he has a very potential. But I won't want to give it up for a second or third for him because we just want to like a quarterback which is more cheaper and more important because right now we just have a lot of things conducted with the cap space because we have to fill it out for the most positions. Linebacker, cornerback, I mean the whole defense. Even though we just wanted to tell about how it's gonna be like the cheaper way when it comes for the quarterbacks, especially for the case of Justin Fields. I mean, he's better than Zach Wilson, but a wide margin. But he also had a better option than they currently have by wide margin. Even if we can draft a quarterback, they just wanted to still need a bet. You can't roll it with two rookie quarterbacks. They need a veteran who could traditionally start games and teaching out the youngest. Teaching out the youngest.
Can you pull up Justin Fields' contract and over the cap if you don't mind? I want to see what because
All right.
Tony brought up a good point about how much he's making next year, and then if they take his 5th-year option. Because this is something I was thinking about. Like if I was to consider the Justin Fields situation, kind of contemplating some different things. So kind of where I'm at with Justin Fields, like, when we talk about scheme, Justin Fields ran for, I think, 1,000 yards, almost 1,000 yards this year, or maybe it was last year, but he ran a bunch this year as well. And so a quarterback that's running anything over 500 yards, to me, that's high risk. I don't even know if I'd say high reward. If you have your star franchise quarterback running for 1,000 yards, that's like running back style. That's a high risk, play. So for me, that's the first thing that like I question. Okay. If you were to get a Fields, the second thing would be his contract. If you could pull it up here, through over the cap, the next thing is what do you got to pay him? Because, essentially in 2024, that'd be his 4th year. You have him for at least a 1-year rental. And then you got to figure out if you're going to do the 5th-year option. Now it's possible if he does good next year, he might hold out. He may not even accept a 5th-year option. So, you have Justin Fields for a 1 to 2-year, deal potentially. Okay. Or you're going to have to pay him a big contract and you're talking 40+ mil. And you have to figure out, do you feel like Justin Fields is worth 40+ million a year? Next is what is the draft capital that's going to get him? You're going to have to trade a second, a third. Is he worth a second or a third? Based on like what you're going to have to pay him. And I don't like having here's where I'm at with scheme. I don't like having a Justin Fields and Aiden O'Connell as his backup. If you're going to have Justin Fields as your starter, in my opinion, at least, you got to have your backup a lot closer to the skill set of a Justin Fields. And so for me, if we get Justin Fields, I want the guy that I wanted the Raiders to draft last year, which is Hendon Hooker, who the Lions drafted like 2 picks before us in the 3rd round. Now, if the Lions would consider us trading Aiden O'Connell and a 3rd or 4th round, we'll say Aiden O'Connell in a 4th round or something like that, and we get Hendon Hooker, and we give the Lions Aiden O'Connell, and then we have Hendon Hooker behind Justin Fields. Hendon Hooker can run the ball, so the skill sets would be a lot more similar. So your scheme can at least be a lot more similar. I would be willing to explore that option. But if you're talking about a Justin Fields with an Aiden O'Connell who's a pocket passer and doesn't run the ball like at all, I personally don't like it. I'm not saying it couldn't work with a good offensive coordinator. I'm just saying, like, me personally, I don't like having 2 quarterbacks with polar opposite skill sets because it just worries me. If Justin Fields goes down, you got to switch almost your entire playbook, your offensive scheme to fit, the quarterback and Aiden O'Connell being a pocket passer.
Yep, exactly. Also, we just got about the comments right here. Think Fields is only making $6 million next year at around 20. It's someone's pickup for the 5th-year option. Also, Snoop Hernandez to say Kingsbury gets offensive coordinator. He can coach up Fields. Also, Snoop Hernandez to say Burst didn't have playmakers to help him out. Also, we got Real Man Raiders to say I was surprised with Adam say he liked Kirk Cousins. I mean, that's not really the fact right here. All right, so let's just stop sharing about that. So right now, let's just move on for the last topic. And I know they just wanted to call me crazy about it, but I just asked for some Raiders content creators what defines the Raider way with you, because right now, after the whole situation, after the whole nightmare we just got with Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler, and right now we just got Antonio Pierce, who provides with personality, with greatness, also with leadership, discipline, and everything. So I just asked with some Raiders content creators that I really know what it defines the Raider way with you. So can you tell us about what it means, the Raider way?
For what you're saying? Sorry.
The Raider way, what it defines to you, the Raider way.
I mean, Tom Telesco, the GM, just said like he wants, like, obviously we want to be a physical team. We want to run the ball, but we also want to have explosive wide receivers to throw the ball deep. And if you're going to throw the ball deep, I don't know if Justin Fields fits that mindset of what they're wanting. You know, I'm not saying I don't want him as of right now. I'm undecided, okay, to be honest with you guys. But because I always try to explore all options before I have a strong opinion one way or the other. But if you want a strong deep game, you almost have to have somebody that has a better arm than Justin Fields, at least in my opinion. Like maybe an Aiden O'Connell. I think he's got a good deep arm. You know, I know he overthrew some guys sometimes, but I think part of that could be on some of the wide receivers, either catching the ball or turning the gears up a notch. So, you know, I look at it from that standpoint as kind of just some tidbits I heard them say. I don't know that Justin Fields kind of fits the scheme and the philosophy that they're wanting to do. You know what I mean? So if we're doing the Raider way, where speed kills, right? The old Al Davis saying, I don't know if Justin Fields fits that. I really don't. You know, I'm not saying he couldn't, you know, bring something to the table and whatnot, but maybe a Kirk Cousins, Aiden O'Connell style quarterback is more what they're looking for.
Yeah, because I just realized that for me, when I was like doing some content creation since 2021, I just learned that right now the Raiders are a part of my family. They're just part of the DNA. If you look at some legendaries like Al Davis, John Maiden, also they got Ken Stabler, Speed Kills, which is very important. Also, they got Charles Woodson. I mean, they're just part of about the DNA because right now it seems that it always had to do for the DNA. Because for me, the right way it's about tradition, it's about culture. Because we're not to embrace the Patriot way. It insists because right now the Raider way is about embracing the Oakland, California culture. Because when you see like a people getting out of the stadium of the Oakland, California, screaming about Raiders all the time when it comes to the game, I mean that's part of the tradition. It never dies because the Raider culture it never dies for a long time. And the Raider Nation, we got the biggest fans of the whole world. No matter if you're living in United States, United Kingdom, Australia, Japan, Korea, Mexico, they're everywhere rocking out for the black t-shirt, black jersey. Also, we just got with a Tim Brown jersey. I mean, that represents for the whole family. It comes to the DNA, it comes to our body, our soul, because I gotta tell you for this something. We always wear black. And we almost trash talk with some teams like San Francisco 49ers, Kansas City Chiefs. We all just call the Kansas City Queens, and we're just talking about for Patrick Mahomes as Kermit the Frog. And we're just part of that culture because we just trash talk with some rival teams, including for the Chargers. We just call them the Chokers and Jesse Harbert as Justin Herbert and the Denver Broncos as Noise the Donkeys. I mean, we're just growing part of that culture. And we never, never, never forget about that because the part of the Raider culture is undeniable. It's unbeatable. And when you see fans over there, when you see like a repping out for the Raiders, because I got to tell you for the one catchphrase, once a Raider, always a Raider. And you can never forget that. Because if you see like a fan who's a Raider fan putting up another jersey for another team, that's not the Raider way it is. Because we represent, because we are wearing Raider jerseys for important players like Tim Brown, Charles Woodson, McFadden, also Max Crosby. Because right now we just embrace the whole culture. It defines the whole generation because if you were in the 70s, the 80s, and 90s, and you had the opportunity to see all those incredible superstars, that defines the Raider way. It is because about for embracing the good football. Because right now we're just living like a soft times, but I just wanted to realize that the right away is for anything could happen. Anything could happen because we just embrace a lot of great things, greatness. Because we're not soft, we're not like the laughing stock, we're just like hard. And pause right here. We're just like a real men who define the real football in everything. And I can scream a lot of things to do for the Raiders because I'm just embraced. Because right now, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the Las Vegas Raiders, and I understand about for the history of the Raiders because right now, it doesn't forget because I'm not stupid. Because the Raider Nation is the whole motherfucking Raider Nation, and you cannot deny about it.
Yeah, well said, man. I mean, Antonio Pierce has talked about offensive coordinator who's going to fit, in this Raiders staff, and how fit is a real, like, essentially that's what I got out of it, but how fit's a real important thing. And I think that same deal goes for the quarterback. Whatever, if we're going to draft a quarterback, whether we move up or if we stay pat at 13, what if Bo Nix or Penix Jr. is there at 13? Do you pick up one of those guys? I mean, I'm not against either of those two possibly at 13. It might be a little high for, some people, but if you do your research and you feel like that's a good fit for our team and that's a great future Raider, then I'd say, you know what, pull the trigger and let's see what happens. Penix Jr. might be the real deal if he can stay healthy. He's had injuries and stuff, but that might be an option you might want to explore. If you feel like that guy can be a Raider and lead your organization to a championship, he's got a damn good deep ball, man. Penix Jr. has a damn good, accurate ball. So, yeah, man, I'm right there with it, bro.
Yeah, that's exactly. And of course, it's gonna be like a really exciting. Also, it's not to say Raiders also signed Anthony Brown Jr. from the Oregon to a future contract. That's right. Also, not to say I just need Aiden O'Connor to practice escaping the pocket and don't take unwanted sacks. And let's see for Tony Shepard to say going to have more black shirts in the crowd next year. I will tell it for this, folks. I will tell you this. And for the last thing that I really want to know, because right now the Super Bowl is going to be on the Allegiant Stadium. I just wanted to let you know. Do not let Chiefs and 49ers fans, because if they're going to put Chiefs and 49er fans right there, it will be completely disaster. Because I know they had a great stadium, but the Allegiant Stadium is sacred. It's very important for the Raider cultures. And we can never allow those Chiefs fans and 49ers get in trouble with stuff like that because we're not like this one. Because that represents our passion, our dignity to represent our team. If you don't like that we rep the Raiders, so I got to tell you for this, Chiefs and 49ers fans, you can suck like this. Because we are representing the Raider Nation. And you can never fuck with us. So I just wanted to tell you that we're getting out of here. We're wrapping this up. Hardcore Raider, where can we find you on the social media? And right now, do you have any plans to make it like a show for the next few months? Because right now we're going ahead to the free agency and, of course, for the NFL draft.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, bro. And you can find me on YouTube, Hardcore Raider. I don't always – there's certain times I'll do more videos. I'm going to do a little bit more this offseason because I'm exploring some different things. Want to talk about the draft a little bit more this offseason. Last offseason, I was really fired up, pissed off at the previous coach, but we're moved on from that. So I'm trying to be more positive. I'm happy right now, even though I know we didn't make the playoffs. I said all offseason, one of the reasons I was fired up is think about this, guys. We waited 60 years to have our own stadium, our very own stadium. And that's Allegiant Stadium. Waited, 63 years to have a Super Bowl in our stadium. So in the offseason, I was really fired up because I did not want the Chiefs to have a chance to get their fourth Super Bowl victory, meaning they would lead the AFC West for Super Bowl victories because the Broncos have 3, Chargers have 0, Chiefs have 3, Raiders have 3. The Chiefs come in and somehow win the Super Bowl in our house at Allegiant Stadium, and Taylor Swift and all the other blah, blah, blah you're going to see and hear with it. Oh, my God, I'm going to lose my mind. I know a lot of Raider fans. I mean, I lived in Cali, dude, so, I get it. I had a lot of Niner friends and stuff, and they'd always be running their mouth kind of shit, man. But, I'd love to not see the Niners and the Chiefs, but my number one thing, we can't let our one of our arch rivals in the Chiefs come to our house and win the freaking Super Bowl. So I'm the biggest Ravens fan this weekend. I thought the Bills were going to be able to get it done last weekend. That didn't happen. But man, we as Raider Nation cannot let the Chiefs come into our house and get their next Super Bowl victory, dude. So I'll be, tuned into that near and dear. And then as far as my channel, yeah, I'm working on a few things, a few quarterback options and some stuff, other stuff in the draft. I don't want to kind of let out of the bag yet, but some stuff I'm going to talk about. And, it's always go Raiders, man. There's only one nation. That's Raider Nation. So let's go.
Yeah,
Let's
there you
love.
go. And it's been like another episode, another special episode for Silver and Black Experience. Also, you can follow me on the social media, Twitter as known as X at Capitán Rafucho, also on Instagram at El Capitán Rafucho, and subscribe me on YouTube because I'm almost there on 1,000 subscribers right now at 800. So I gotta look at a little bit for anything, but if you guys like the content, hit the like button, subscribe to El Capitán Rafucho, and it's free. It's not paid. It's free for everyone because don't be scared because right now hit the like button and you'll be welcome. So right now it's been like another episode of Silver and Black Experience with a special guest, Hardcore Raider. And of course, I got one more thing to do to close it out for the show. Just win, baby, at the lyrics of Al Davis. Hey, here's another message. For those
Can we do Raiders chant on 3? Can we do a Raiders chant on 3?
There you go.
1, 2, 3. Raiders! Boom. Let's
There
go.
you go. All right. Have a good one. Have a great week. And of course, I got another message for those Chiefs and 49er fans. You can suck up this. Fuck the Chiefs, fuck the 49ers. Raider Nation for life, motherfuckers. Have a good one, sir.
Later.